And that got Field and Culbreth.
Way to start your career. Knock out an umpire.
This is Carter Holton, and you're watching the Moneyball channel.
It is my pleasure today to have Mr. Dan Winkler with me. Dan is a former Atlanta Brave. Yes, he played for the Cubs, but let's just stick with former Atlanta Brave. Just mentioning to Dan, anytime I have a Bravo on the show or a prospect or anything Braves related, brings out a little fire in me. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Here's one stat that I look at, Dan, that's really important to me when I look at players and their careers with pitching. Strikeouts to innings. Strikeouts to innings tells me truly what somebody's caliber of pitcher they were. That's my gauge. Who fit that mold? 173 strikeouts and 158 innings. That's phenomenal. What were your pitches? What was your arsenal?
Yeah, four seam, obviously it changed. I played 12 years. I was a starter at first. I got hurt in the middle, got transitioned to the bullpen, so like later in my career, it was very much cutter. I'd kind of like the up cutter. So instead of it was had a more vertical break. So it was deceptive. I would say I thrived on that deceptiveness, and higher spin, those kind of things. But yeah, it was cutter, four seam. I threw a lot of different versions of a slider, and then I had a changeup as well. Again, a lot of different versions of a changeup. But towards the latter part of my career, I started throwing a split change, more of that like what they would call a kick change now. So it's kind of like it's like a split, really. I just didn't have big enough hands to throw a splitter. So yeah, I kind of leaned on each one different points of my career, but I'd say most of my big league time it was cutter, very very much so, and I would say if you had a scouting report on me in the big leagues, it's like loves his cutter.
Your cutter was nasty, first of all. It was nasty. There's some TikTok video of you out there throwing one. I don't know who did. Did you see it? It says Dan Winkler. It's you. Although there is a lot of Dan Winklers. We were going to go into that. You have some competition. You got the knife guy, Dan Winkler knives, and you got the religious guy.
Yeah, the preacher. Yep.
So, but dude, your cutter was nasty. I mean, the thing would fall out and drop outside.
Yeah.
It's almost a curve. It's almost Kershaw-esque with his curve. And I don't know how you throw that pitch. I would never even dream of knowing how you, right? But it's amazing. And that was your weapon, of choice. But going back to my original question, the mindset with batters when they would come into the box, would you look at, say somebody's coming up and you know this is a big hitter or this guy hits contact or whatever it is. I guess let's go inside your mind a little bit with that.
Yeah, so especially again, later part of my career, more information became available. When I was starting in the minor leagues, you didn't have that much scouting reports. You had an idea, but it was normally like the pitching coach just watching video. When I was with the Braves, when I was with the Cubs, we had everything. We went off of where's their slug? Where do they do damage? A lot of times you're trying to pitch away from.
Would you personally study a lot of that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So it was you don't want to get too cerebral, right? You don't want to get too much in your head. You still want to go to your strengths. I would still go cutter at the top of the zone, force him at the top of the zone and slider down, but what I was looking mainly is for where do my strengths line with their weaknesses, right? And then I can think of facing Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Face him quite a bit, keeping him off balance is a big thing. That guy doesn't have I could go through all of them too. All the pitchers.
It's just
he's got 2 homers off me. But that was that's early in my career. I pitched well against him. Later, I think scouting reports and knowledge is a lot. He knew hey, I'm coming cutter up and in. Those guys learn really quick. The
good ones do. The good ones
exactly. They adapt, right? So yeah, it just depends on the hitter. A lot of times. Righties, man, I love facing righties. My stats against righties were really good. So I was a lower 3/4 guy. What they would say is I had low vertical attack angle. So it looked like it was rising.
And then where I would see that righties is where I'd see that drop off on the far side of the outside. They weren't touching it. They didn't have a bat long enough to touch it, bro.
Exactly. And late moving cutter, it's just hard to hit that. Anything moving away from the righties is really good. So yeah, it just depend on, who I was facing, what the scouting report said, those kind of things. But I did lean pretty heavily on the scouting report, especially as the things went later on. And it tended to be to my advantage.
Let me ask you this. Second time, third time through the order, how would you change mentally, right? Because we all know that again, the good ones, which if you're at the major league level, you would like to think most of these guys are doing their homework, unless you're just so absolutely, talented. There is those guys too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Trout could take 5 years off, come in and hit, 5 home run, like
100%. Yeah.
But these guys talk to each other. Yo, here's what Winks is doing. He's throwing down over here, right? And they're going to talk to each other. Now, the second time around, you can't throw that first pitch, second pitch. You have to change it up. You have to, not the literal term change up, but what would you do mentally as you went through and you saw the order for the second time? Again, when you were a starter.
Yeah. I still stuck to my game plan. There was typically a game plan like, hey, we're going to start backwards with some of these guys. But my game plan was always, when I was a starter, like get ahead, pound the strike zone, and then kind of expand.
So you'd go right after him. You'd go aggressively go right after him.
Yeah. When I was starting, that was my whole MO. And so like, again, I had a little bit of different mechanics then, but I would kind of go towards the thirds and then work farther out as I got deeper in the count. And then, really like maybe I went slider first pitch for him. Maybe I'd go do that again and then attack weaknesses. So it really just depends on the hitter. Sometimes if I felt like they had no shot against me, I'm not going to change that up. I can think of a guy that the scouting report was he hits fastballs inside really well. And I had owned him. Like he's 0 for 7, just throwing fastballs away, sliders away. And I faced him the 8th time. And I'm like, you know what? This guy's got to know what I'm doing. And so first pitch, I went heater inside. He hit a double off the wall. And it's like,
and isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Like you challenged the scouting report. Everything you did worked. I do want to spend some time specifically on one team you were on. It's the 2018 Braves. What year was your injury when you came walking off? You were on the ground. What year was that?
2016.
Okay, that was. Okay. So what did that injury end up being?
I broke my...
Oh! Uh-oh. No. No. Oh, no.
Elbow. I broke this bone right here.
On the throw?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
I had Tommy John in 2014. I was in the minor leagues with the Rockies as a starter. I had Tommy John then. I got actually picked up by the Braves in the Rule 5 draft. Don't need to go into it, but the Braves put me on their major league roster. And then I came back, was healthy. 2016, I had to make the team essentially. Otherwise, I was going to go back to the Rockies. Pitched really well, made the team, and my elbow just started hurting me. Like it was just killing me.
Did you rush it a little? Did you rush it a little bit?
So maybe
you had to.
Yeah, maybe. So what the theory was that so they take a tendon on the Tommy John from your forearm, they wrap it in, and they anchor it to this bone here. Wow. And what they think this anchor point didn't heal, and this was so strong. So instead of the tendon breaking again, it just pulled the bone.
That would make sense. That would make sense, right?
So yeah,
and really no rhyme or reason why one end would heal and one wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. In the moment, I felt like I broke my arm up here.
Did it hurt bad? You looked like you were in some pain, bro.
Yeah, all of it was just hit me at once. Like I had so many feelings, I just collapsed. You saw, I don't know.
I saw it. And even the announcers, like, I don't know if it was Chip Carey, but nobody said anything because it was such a, you had worked so hard to get where you were. And it was like, I certainly knew who you were and I knew the story. I was like, oh man, how long were you out at that point?
Similar time. I came back to the big leagues in August. At the end of August of 2017, I was pitching in the minor league.
Did you pitch in August, September?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, coming back, it was a long journey. Obviously, I got a screw in there. It just had to heal essentially. But what I'll say to that is, hey, that place was dead silent. I mean, it was Turner Field. That place had 50,000. It was the last year of Turner. So
yeah.
It was dead silent. Braves fans were so impressive to me that day because I had so many people. Because I was going out to get an x-ray, do all the things, and I ran into so many Braves fans who were like, hey, praying for you. Hey, I hope you get better. Like genuinely.
Dude, they're different. They're different. They're different.
It was amazing. I had thrown 5 games for the Braves in my career at that point, and it was just, man, it was crazy. And I still hear people like, I was at that game. Like that was the saddest thing I've ever seen. So
they're different. I remember Johnny Rocker. Remember John Rocker?
Oh yeah.
Remember the batteries getting whipped at him? Where was he, in New York and Shea?
Yeah, the Mets hated him.
They hated him, and they were throwing D. They weren't triple A's either.
They're the big ones.
They were throwing D's at him,
Yeah.
and they were hitting them. So I don't think you'd ever see something like that in Atlanta. They're a different fan. They respect the game of baseball. I don't know if it was Hank Aaron, Dale Murphy, or whatever it was, but going to games there, even it's more religious, right? It's like a religious experience there, man. It's crazy. And you're right. It was dead silent, but that helps me as far as my timeline. 2017, then you were rostered, right? Not the best year for the Braves. Not a bad year for you. Actually, you did pretty well, but not a great year for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
And then 18 comes around.
Yeah, so it's coming off that injury. I only threw 12 games the year before in 2017, and then I threw 69 in 2018.
Okay, that's why. Okay, so the stats were really good in 17, but it was a limited sample size.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, and then 69 games in 18. But yeah, dude, you were pitching really well, though.
Yeah. Led the team in holds, led the team. I think I was one shy short. I was still considered a rookie. I was one hold shy of the rookie record. So in 91, 93, when before I was like 93, 95, lost a couple ticks there. Snit called me and he was like, hey, we're going to leave you off the roster. At the time, I was upset and, obviously I want to pitch in the playoffs. I got us there. I helped get there.
Yeah, no, you absolutely did. That's fair to say, bro. You absolutely did.
And so, yeah, I was upset, but it was odd going in. That year was awesome. Like that year was the first year where like Braves are back, right?
I noticed when I first said 2018 Braves, your face lit up, man. Like
it's a special team. It was so much fun. Acuna came up that year. So it was like, but we got, there you go. Yeah, stud.
We need him back tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I keep interrupting you because I'm excited. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I would say just like when we got to the playoffs, we played the Dodgers, and it was like I didn't say we didn't belong because we did, but there was just this feeling of like we are out of our element a little bit. So it's hard to say that, but it's like this feeling of
because I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe the clubhouse even felt the same way just because of 2017, right? Like it was like this lingering effect and the expectations weren't there. So it's almost like making it was the World Series win. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually tracks really well because 15 we celebrated when we couldn't lose 100 games. We lost 97 games that year. We were terrible. 16 was similar. Like I didn't watch any baseball at that time. I was just butthurt because I had I was not in a good spot, but the team wasn't good. 17 we were like 500. And then Capalella got suspended, like John Hart got out. And so we had like this weird off season. And then Alex came in.
What was that? The international stuff or something?
Yeah. International signing. We was doing some shady stuff. And then Alex came in and nobody knew what to expect. But in that clubhouse, we were like, we're better than everybody's telling us we are. And then we honestly, I think we led the East almost all season. We just dominated. And then we got to the playoffs and you're right. It did feel like, hey, we're not supposed to be here. We're just happy to be here kind of thing.
Yeah. And I didn't, mean to kind of bring that up, that you were left. I wouldn't have said it maybe had I known, but truly, I didn't even know that.
Yes. Part of my journey.
Well, dude, you have an amazing attitude and I love your honesty and your transparency. You're just a salt of the earth, dude. Like you can just tell I feel like I've known you for 20 years. Like I'm talking to one of my buddies or something. And those are the best people to me, man. And you tell it how it is. You don't sugarcoat anything, man, right down to this is where I was. It's funny, isn't it, to look at the trajectory of people's careers, and you were a major league ball player, period. You, Dan Winkler, what my kids someday they say, I want to play for the Atlanta Braves. Hell, I used to say I want to play for the Atlanta Braves, and you did it, man. And you did it well. And this stuff. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see the trajectory, and I guess how certain athletes kind of look at it after the fact. Because you did retire early, didn't you? Wouldn't you say it was early?
Yeah, I thought I would play a little longer. Honestly, I felt like my stuff was the best it was at the end of my career. I just, they shrunk some rosters, and just didn't, like we were talking about earlier. It just wasn't meant to be. Yeah. Again, I think as athletes, we always want more, and maybe people. I think of the Rockefeller comment when he when they interviewed him, when he reached $1 billion, and they asked him how much more money will be enough, and he said just a little bit more. No, and it's like
It's always a little bit more.
like it's just with anything in life. Like I thought I'd play 10 years. I thought I'd be an all-star. I thought like I wouldn't have to work after baseball ended. I think
That's what, that's a great point. That's a great point.
like
And even starter, starter with it's going to reliever.
yeah,
Which,
hard.
let's be honest, that's a pay cut. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like that's the business. It is what it is. And yeah, no, I feel you, man. I know exactly what you're saying. But when you look back at it, again, you're still in the 1%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like not only that, but to have done it successfully, but let's go back to that 2018 team, right? Because I'm not letting you off the hook with that team yet.
Yeah.
You're right. Acuna's first year, Freddie Freeman, Dansby Swanson, Nick Markakis, who was a stud, dude. I love that guy. But more specifically, the pitching staff, right? It was Faulty, it was Fried, Soroka, Tehran was still there, Kyle Wright was there. Who am I missing? Gossman was there. Newcomb, who I just saw, is still playing. Who's he pitching for? Boston, I think.
Yeah, Boston.
I mean, you were lights out that year. You had Minter, you had Moylan, you had Vetters. I mean, Vizcaíno, I think, was the closer.
Busy, yep.
Luke Jackson, I think your boy, or no? You know what it was with him? He was such high praise, and it was like he could do no wrong. And maybe it was just every game I watched then. The ones I happened to tune in, he'd give up the 3-run shot when we're up by 2. It was like every game, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's a good dude, and I'd love to have him on the show, right? So, but I wrote him in parentheses, and I wrote, America's most hated, Luke Jackson. But yeah, I mean, that had to be a fun clubhouse, right? Tell me a little bit about the camaraderie of that year. Like I know you started going into it a little bit. It was a special team. Morgan Wallen's got his song, 98 Braves, right? I feel like 18 Braves could be a song too, man. Tell me about the clubhouse, and just, you had a lot of different personalities. Like, let's hear more about that team.
Yeah, it was, I would say that's the best part about that 18 team was the camaraderie. I mean, we always like go on the road. We were hanging out together. We played, I don't know if you, EA Sports, the golf game, the Rory McIlroy one.
I remember.
We played that all the time.
Okay.
He's in, like just hang out together. Peter Moylan was like the ringleader of our bullpen. Great dude. And, like we were just really close. A close bullpen, a close clubhouse. Like Freddie was finally like he had endured 15, 16, 17.
Yes.
And he finally felt like, oh, we got something here.
Yes.
And so like he was like Chipper, like he was Chipper was around, but Freddie was happy, things were good there. And then you got, Cakes was just like a natural leader. You got Flo, Kurt Suzuki. Those two guys were just really good with the pitching staff, good with a lot of the younger guys.
How was Culberson, man? He seems like I met him once or twice, just briefly chat, and he seems like a great dude.
Yeah. He's like the glue, I would say. Like he brings everyone. Yeah.
Kind of like a dude. You could talk to him about anything, kind of thing, right? Like he's always, go ask, Culberson or something,
Exactly. Yeah, he's got. I always felt like he had his hand in everything, and like he was friends with everybody. And then you had like Dansby and Ozzy and Ronnie were like always messing around, and like those guys are just really good guys. There was no cancers. I will equate it to, I wasn't on that 21 team. But I was on the Cubs, and Jock was on the Cubs, and he got traded to the Braves. It felt like I had talked to Luke and those guys that when Jock came over, it was like they needed that guy. And it was a shame because the 2018 team seemed like they had the camaraderie. We just were missing like a few things.
Yeah, right? or maybe one guy like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you had leaders that were still coming up. Like Freddie now is maybe one of the best leaders in baseball, right? I mean, if I love that guy, but that was still, I wouldn't say the infancy of his career, but you're right. He had just gone through those bad years. Finally, it was his turn to shine and kind of be that guy. A lot of times in clubhouses, and I've heard this from a lot of guys, there's a lot of separation between pitchers and the position players. It doesn't seem like that was the case at all. Have you experienced that with other teams, where like they're kind of standoffish and you guys you're on your side, they're on their side?
Yeah, like kind of early in like the minor leagues, it's kind of that way a little bit. You're friends with like a group of guys, but minor leagues is a different beast. Like in the big leagues, like you're all collectively trying to get to something. Yeah. And I was a part of some really good teams that we were trying to do that. 17 was odd because came in there at the end of the year, we knew we couldn't make the playoffs. So it was kind of like, hey, let's just finish the season strong, go into 18. But, I was lucky enough to be a part of some really good clubhouses. Like when I went to the Cubs, man, it was the exact same. Like,
Cool. I was gonna ask that. Yeah.
yeah, Rizzo, KB, Baez, like John Lester, Arrieta, those guys, they welcomed me with open arms. Like I was just this, bullpen guy who may or may not help them, but they're like, what's up, man? Like, you want to go golfing? We're going here. Like, those are the teams that are successful. Like, you could have all the talent in the world on a team, and if the clubhouse isn't, that matters. Like, the human element matters.
Totally.
And that's what makes baseball so beautiful, I think, because the personalities, they really do matter. So, yeah, I was lucky enough to be a part of some really good teams.
It honestly, though, Winks, it says a lot about you too, because if people are embracing you with open arms, there's guys that go in and they're either too cool for school, right? Or maybe they're a little ego driven. And I feel like in the minor leagues, everybody's not playing for the team. They're playing to get to the next level. So it makes more sense. That I understand, right? It's kind of a dog eat dog world, man. Like it's if the bases are loaded with one out, you almost want the dude to strike out so that it's your turn so you can hit it. And I know that sounds crazy but you know what I'm saying, because maybe then you can get the glory. Maybe you're called up. It's a different element. And I get what you're saying.
Totally different. Yeah.
But with MLB, I would guess the biggest thing would be just like you said, the toxicity of somebody just coming and just kind of thinking, and I'm not talking language barriers because that stuff happens too. I'm talking just somebody who doesn't fit in, doesn't want to fit in. So yeah, collectively, but dude, somebody who embrace, like if you come in, and it says a lot about you and your character as well, because you are a likable guy. I can tell you that right now by talking to you, man. And so them say, hey, you want to go golf with us or whatever, and embracing you, it also speaks volumes to you and your character. Do you golf a lot?
Probably not as much as I'd like, but yes,
the kids.
Exactly. Yeah, 3 kids makes that.
So people ask me if I golf, and I'm like, dude, I say I have 3 kids, and they're okay, never mind.
Yeah. If I'm lucky, it's like once a month, twice a month.
Could you imagine telling your wife on a Sunday morning, you're like, I'm gonna go out with the guys and go golfing all day?
Yeah, I sleep on the couch.
Right, you'd be sleeping on the couch for a while, right? You got the kids today, honey. I'm going golfing all day, because golf, dude, you can't. It's not like going and shooting hoops outside. I mean, it's an all day thing,
Oh yeah. And then it's, you got to hang out a little bit afterwards too,
Oh, of course. Yeah. You got the 19th, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
What are your favorite things to do? Do you hunt, fit? Like, what are your other things that you like to do?
Yeah. I mean, I try to hunt. I'm from Illinois, so like white-tailed deer is a big thing. Don't have the patience for that. Fishing too. I don't have the patience for that. I'm a golfer. That's my thing. Honestly, I can't even think. I watch a lot of golf. I watch a lot of baseball. I love football.
Well, listen, you do plenty. I mean, you, like I said, 3 kids with job and everything else you're doing, bro. I mean, you do plenty,
Yeah.
A lot of times with these athletes, a lot of the Southern guys, it's always hunting, fishing. I personally can't get into it. It's a patience thing, but up in Western New York, it's a little different maybe than it is in Georgia, in the backwoods of Georgia or something. Where in Illinois did you grow up?
Small town called Effingham, so it's kind of like southernish Illinois. It's a town of 10,000, so real small town, and it's farm country.
Yeah. So you were the Friday Night Lights hero, or what? You were the hometown hero?
I mean, we actually had 3 big league guys from my hometown.
Oh yeah,
Chad Green. I don't know if you know that name.
Yeah.
He was with the Yankees for a long time. I think he's with the Blue Jays now. So
yeah, is he still playing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's the other guy? You remember?
Nick Gardewine. He bounced around with the Rangers, I think.
Another thing I love too about baseball, and well, 2 parts to this too. I was down and I was talking to. Have you met Travis Jankowski ever?
I pitched against him a lot.
Great dude. And I ran into him down in Charlotte. He's 33, still playing for, the White Sox organization.
Yep.
And we just got into talking kind of like you and I got into talking, he said the average lifespan now for an MLB player is 2.7 years.
I believe it.
That blew my mind though, right? Because baseball was always the game that you got in and you played for 15, 20 years, right? And when he said that 2.7, it just like stunned me, man. I was like, wow.
I ended in Charlotte actually in my last year.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, and I was 32, and I was the old guy. Me and another guy were both 32, and we were the only ones with kids. All the others, some of them couldn't drink. It's like
yeah.
But yeah,
Truist Park that's beautiful.
It's awesome. I loved it there. Charlotte's a great spot.
Yeah, I mean that whole skyline and everything. Like I was really really impressed. I was fortunate. I got there at about 2:30, and I sat there and I was the only media out on the field, man. So I just soaked it in, and I ran Jorge Alfaro. got to talk to him for a while. Jared Schuster actually was over there, talked to him for a bit. And I was just kind of looking at the skyline and soaking it up. And I was like, man, this is nice. I could get used to it.
That's for sure.
It's not suck. Yeah, it was beautiful. Let's get into a couple of fun questions with you, man. Ice cream flavor. What do you got? What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I'm a vanilla through and through.
Straight up vanilla.
There wouldn't be any other flavors without vanilla.
That's very true. But you're just going to go, so you won't even put in, you don't want anything in that, just vanilla.
I mean, I'll put I like some cookie dough, but
little peanut butter maybe?
Just cookie dough, peanut butter. I'll take it.
Peanut butter guy. Okay.
I mean, it's all right. But I'm like a vanilla. My wife will tell you.
Say you're at Cold Stone Creamery, right?
Yeah.
And they got that joint. They got the cold. I don't know what they call that thing.
Yeah.
They throw in the stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta throw in 3 ingredients. What are you going with? You have to. You can't just say I want vanilla. They're saying you have to do it.
Definitely the cookie dough bites. Maybe some fudge, hot fudge. Maybe I don't know what else.
Gummy bears in there.
Yeah, but gummy bears when they get cold, man, they're hard
to chip your tooth on those things.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. My kids will throw in like gummy bears and then Sour Patch Kids, and by the time you get to the end, the thing's like $17.
We did that the other day actually, and my kids it's like $35 for 4 things, and it's like what?
They no mind, right? They have no clue, dude. They have no clue. Like,
Dad's got it. That's what they
right.
do.
Yeah, you try to explain it to them, money and stuff. I really like my 11-year-old. I try to teach him a little bit about money and earning and savings, and he pretends he's listening, and then he asks me for a $400 bet 10 minutes later. Yeah. Jordan or LeBron, man?
Jordan. I was Illinois boy.
Thank you. Always. Thank you so much. Thank you. So that's a more significant question for you because you're at the crossroads age. See, I'm a Jordan through and through. I'm 46 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of these young bucks I talk to, they're LeBron guys, and I have to kind of sit and educate them. A couple guys I've literally sent clips and stuff to. You just don't know. But Illinois guy, of course. Were you a big basketball growing up?
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, Illinois is like basketball is the sport. Yeah. I played travel basketball. I played rec league baseball.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. And I thought I was going to go to the University of Illinois, get drafted in the second round,
Taller dude, right? Are you like 6'3"?
6'3", yeah.
Yeah. How was the basketball game?
I averaged 4 points my senior year, so not too great. I was the defensive specialist.
I mean, you could have said, but I averaged 17 assists a game. I mean,
I was, maybe a couple steals.
Whenever you can't shoot or you're not at that level, you're a defensive specialist. Exactly. I was a defensive specialist. Yeah. My 8-year-old was just playing. It's called Little Cagers basketball, right? It's like that little league they have, and he was playing against kids that were a lot bigger than him and stuff. And like I said, don't. He was getting all discouraged, and I'm like, Jackson, don't worry about it, buddy. You're a defensive specialist.
Yeah, exactly.
What I told him. What's your favorite MLB park that you played at?
Wrigley Field, hands down. Yeah. So that's an easy one for me. Top 3 would be Yankee Stadium would be like number 2.
Old Yankee Stadium?
I only played at the new one.
Yeah, you're right. That was 2015 maybe or 16?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe back further than that, man. Time flies. It might have been further than that.
Yeah, I think it was further. I don't even know, honestly.
The new one is nice. It's obviously it's a tough pill to swallow with like $300 seats, man. But
yeah. It's just the atmosphere. Honestly, it's like in New York City, like you're playing the Yankees. Like it's legit. It's like what you dream about, right? Like you play in Yankee Stadium and you're like looking around and the place is going nuts, and it's just dreams come to reality at that point. So
your favorite to play at period was Wrigley. And then second would have been Yankees to play at. What's number 3?
Yeah, I'm just trying to buy some time because
well, Atlanta fans will get mad if you don't say Truist, but we can't count that. We're not going to count that.
Yeah, it's hard to count that one. I love that stadium. I really do. Turner was like...
That's a whole mall, though, dude. That's a whole complex.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was like I was there so many times. Like if we're talking about what's for the players, it's Wrigley Field and Truist. Like the clubhouse at Truist is unbelievable.
I heard Chipper still got his own little bourbon locker.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
He's got a special Delta Club bourbon locker. I know a guy who runs the Delta Club down there, and he told me, so he tipped me off. He said Chipper's got 2 or 3 lockers, but one is just for his bourbon.
I believe it. He's a great dude. He actually is very giving of his time, so he's there all the time. So my third would probably be a cop out, just Boston.
Yeah. Every park's got its own personality and atmosphere. And yes, the history with Fenway and Wrigley. I was at old, Yankee and new is better, period. You know what the most underrated park is, far and away, is PNC. PNC, man. $10 seat, like beautiful park, Clemente's everywhere. Tour the stadium before, and they give you all the Clemente stories in the background. And then there's a museum there. I don't know if you ever get a shot. There's like,
I've never seen that.
he's got his own museum now. It's only open on like Wednesdays or something. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Clemente guy, so it's a special place for sure. All right, last one I got on here was chips, potato chips. We'll go brand and then flavor. Are you a chip guy?
Oh yeah, big chip guy. I don't know, like I'm just any chip, like plain barbecue.
Well, yeah, that's the flavor. So which zest do you prefer? And then the actual brand. So you could say, okay, I like Pringles, salt and vinegars. We'll go right into it.
Let's see. I'm gonna say the Ruffles cheddar and sour cream.
Dude, yeah, we are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have like, the baked ones that are not as those are good.
Those are
good flavor of the baked that I can do is the What do you think of the Pringles?
I like Pringles. I mean, I try to stay away from them because I could eat the whole thing. I could eat the entire
the whole box. Yeah, like if you pop the top or whatever, it's gone in one session easily.
Yeah.
Because you eat like 30 chips at once, and one of those canisters is maybe 3 to 5 minutes for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now that I'm not a professional athlete anymore, I have to watch what I eat. So I don't stockpile potato chips because they don't last long.
You look like you could go out and throw tomorrow, man.
I feel like I could, but
are you gonna coach your kids, you think? Are you gonna be involved with it?
So I coach a little bit right now. My son's 7.
It's hard. Let me ask you, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
Everyone knowing you were a pro ball player, right? Yeah. So you're in Nashville and you're at your kid's little league. I think probably if they didn't know, the hens start chirping. One of the moms is like, do you know who that is? Will they treat you different? Do you kind of get like, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Nashville's an interesting place because there's so many like sneaky famous people.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. Yeah. Producers and musicians. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Jordan Matthews, the wide receiver. Yeah. His son is my son's age.
Okay.
Like there's always like some country singer or something. You'll see Carrie Underwood at the grocery store. They send her kids like down the street.
Don't tell my wife that, man.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that earlier.
She'll be at your doorstep, dude. She'll be knocking on your doorstep. She loves her, man. She loves her.
I've met her a couple of times. She's super, super awesome, really polite.
You got to meet her once. She said she was amazing. Yeah.
Good Christian, fair Christian people.
Do you know her husband, Mike?
Yeah. He always puts on a charity event that I've gone to a couple of times. Really great dude. So like I said, like Nashville's, it's almost like LA it's in a sense, like South LA is what they call it.
But without the nonsense of LA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you get real people. That's how, Bible Belt, whatever, but you get real people. I leave the people in LA, leave them there. Like,
yeah,
seriously, that, and no offense, they're just so superficial. And I feel like Nashville being, the South LA or whatever, maybe as far as like the celebrity status and who you get.
Yeah.
But yeah. Leave those cats out in LA, man. Cause
it's very like, it's not keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
It's not. It's very like there could be people at church that are probably worth $1 billion and you'd never know, and so it is very like it's a homey like so not that coming back to that, people aren't like, when I tell them, they're like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. And then obviously they have more questions, or that when they find out, they're like, oh, how long do you play? Like, this guy, like, why aren't you coaching my son then?
Well, and I was like you probably, and then your son is what, 7?
7, yeah.
I don't know if he pitches yet. It's way too early to tell. You're in, and as well as I do. And now that you're a dad, like the craziness around travel sports is so mind-numbing, ridiculous. Like little Johnny, the 10-year-old, and they'll send him to all these sessions, this and that, right? I mean, when do you think you'll know if you have a true talent? 12, 13? Is that fair to say? Like, when did you really come out of your shell where you were like, wow, this dude's got some real talent?
Yeah, I tell this story a lot. My goal right now for my son is just to enjoy whatever he's doing. Try to get him in with his friends, those kind of things. Like if his friends were doing travel ball, like sure, we can go do that, whatever. But I want you to enjoy the game. It should be fun. Like the goal of the game of baseball, sure, you play it, it should be to win, but it's to play the game. Like when we were kids, we would play in the backyard and wiffle ball, and it was the joy of playing the game, not if we won or lost. Like, yeah, we kept score because that was part of the game.
Yep.
Like winning and losing is part of the game,
Yep.
but playing is the goal. So that's what I try to take with him anyways. But what I would say is, like, when I was 14, I was in 8th grade, I hit 80 mile an hour. And like, I didn't think anything of it. I remember some guys like, are you the kid that hit 80 mile an hour?
Were you throwing at like, excuse me, at like a fair or something? Or was it with school team?
It was this junior college. They put on like a summer camp. And
Okay. And they just had the gun there?
Yeah, and at the end, it was like a fun thing. Like, oh, let's see who can throw hard. And
so everybody else was 57 to 60.
Yeah, I don't even know what they. And honestly, I just remember it was 80, and like I don't know, but I wasn't very good. I didn't make an all-star team, a travel ball team until I was 14. Like I said, I pursued basketball my entire life.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like going into my senior year, I started getting recruited, and then
It's pretty amazing actually to hear, man. Like, what an athlete though. Like, you know, to not really, I guess, quote, take it seriously until that age, and then a couple years later getting looked at, bro. Like, kudos to you. That's a tremendous athlete, man. And listen, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Your kids are going to be athletes. Like, now more than ever, man. Like, you cannot go through a roster without being like, oh, that's his son. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, man. Your son is going to have a talent. He's going to be an athlete. And I love everything you said about having fun playing the game. I think you'd be a very good coach because you're patient, and you're probably a very good dad because you're patient. I can tell by your demeanor, but then with that expectation comes too, like, well, you're the pitching coach, right? Like, you got to be the pitching coach, and oh, his son's obviously got to be pitcher. You know what I mean? So like, it's a slippery slope, right?
It is very much so. I just want him to play a sport, right? Like you said, I think
You
there's.
don't even care if it's baseball.
No, I don't. If it's hockey, like, just play. I think I learned so much. It kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
Structure. I was not very good at like structure, like being on time, those kind of things.
Yep.
Sports taught me that.
Yep.
And so I want my kids, all of my kids, whether it's golf, whether it's whatever, I think competition is good, right? Like your boys, like, yeah, competing is good. And like having that structure of, hey, we're sitting here, we're being responsible for that kind of stuff. 100%. So I think sports is good for that. So I just want them to play a sport.
Yeah, no, it's very, very well said, man. Very well said. This was a great conversation, man. I really enjoyed it. I cannot thank you enough for your time. I'm not going to take any more of it, but yeah, phenomenal, dude. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me. This is awesome.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well.
Woo! What a game. Just ended. Where do you want to go eat?
Razors.
That's right. Where else would you rather go after the game? We want to go to Razors. Let's check out what we're featuring here. When you walk into Razors, you are going to see that they're serving up the dogs, the burgers, and everything else, even some ice cream here. So at Razors, they got everything fresh on the grill. Whipping it up, here putting in work. All right. And Jackson, what do you like most about Razors?
That I'm not just saying that I like it for the commercial.
Okay, that you actually like the food, right? What's your favorite thing to eat here? Everything. All right, good answer. Thanks, buddy.